last night, I sat in front of this camera and for 42 minutes did my full-on Dynamite review. For 42 minutes, I left. I made jokes. Honestly, I felt like it was my best review to date. But then I find out that my video was flagged, either for copyrighted music or video or images, or it was potentially someone who just took it down for me. I did not have anything on there. It was just me and the camera. So they got taken down. Not sure why. I tried to go back live a second time. And again, 5 minutes in, my video was taken down yet again and flagged, so it was removed. Again. I don't know why, nor do I care. So I did do my Dynamite review last night, but I feel as if it's required for me to give you all a review every week. So I'm going to, again, give you guys a Dynamite review. But I'm also going to give you guys an NXT TakeOver review because that was supposed to be this morning. So I'm running behind today, but I'm giving you both. We're going to call them the Yo Bro Nation Double Shot review. This is a one-time only, as of now. So sit down, guys, grab your popcorn and your drinks. I'm going to do a double shot review, and this is going to be your review of Dynamite and NXT. I'll be right back. First up is NXT. NXT last night was not a bad show. I actually enjoyed it a bit. I didn't watch it till this morning, again, running behind, but this is going to be your NXT review for this double shot review that I'm doing this morning. I kind of like that idea, double shot review. I like that. Again, there was a crowd for NXT, so I'm going to run through these. It's going to be like really in-depth review. This is going to be quick. I'm going to try to keep this about 20 minutes for everyone, just to get a quick review in this morning and let everyone just kind of enjoy it and get on with their days. So we kick off NXT today with Jake Atlas, Kushida, and Maverick. Drake Maverick. In the Group A finale, the triple threat, of course, that brought up last week when Kushida was beat by Maverick, all three men being tied. So we did a triple threat. Mauro Ranallo name-dropping New Japan Pro Wrestling. Actually talking about Kushida being a six-time junior division, a junior champion, Super Juniors. Match very fast-paced to start off. Atlas, very impressive. I haven't seen very much of his work. Very good. You get Kushida doing an Okana roll, and then Drake grabs James Drake, ends up doing a German suplex into a pinning combination on both men. Pretty good. You get a spot where Jake Atlas is, I guarantee you I'm messing his name up, but Atlas was knocked off the apron after Kushida hit a handspring into the corner, missing him. Kushida then does a tope over the top rope to the outside, coming back in and then doing a tornado DDT through the ropes onto Drake Maverick for only a 2 count. Drake Maverick hitting the corner bulldog, getting only a 2 count. Rainbow DDT by Jake Atlas to Drake Maverick. That was broke up by Kushida. Match ends when Kushida hits off the top rope into a cross arm breaker onto Atlas. Then Maverick, once the armbar is applied, ends up pinning Atlas for the 3 count. Phantasma ends up coming out, congratulating him, pointing at the belt, hey, it's us next week. And you can see the mutual respect. Once they come back from commercial, they show the replay with Drake Maverick actually seeing where the arm is out. Atlas is tapping, so controversy to end this match, and that's kind of how that goes. Johnny Gargano comes out and says it's not about getting rid of people, but making it better. He wants to give opportunities to those who deserve it. Says that that's how he ended up becoming the face of NXT. He says it's the Johnny Gargano Invitational. He has Candice LeRae do a drum roll where he names Adrian Alanis Adrian Alanis. One second. I need my water. Adrian Alanis. My throat gets fucked up. So Adrian Alanis comes out. They do shakes hands. Johnny Gargano then punches him. Alanis, though, does end up fighting back with a big, right hook. He ends up running at Johnny. Johnny hits him with a super kick, talks a little bit of trash to him, applies the Gargano escape for Alanis to tap out. Really quick match. Not much to it, just to build up to what we see afterwards. Keith Lee and Mia Yim, you see them sitting at a dinner table. And basically, they're reenacting the Gargano dinner meals that we have. Keith Lee picks up these flyers and says, what do you think about this beautiful centerpiece I brought? And Mia Yim calls it plastic and tacky and other things, saying, oh, look, it's the Garganos. So they make fun of the Garganos. Mia Yim doing the whole thing where the color drains out and it's flashing lights and they act differently, talking trash about Candice LeRae. And then you see they cut back to Keith looking at her like, what was that? So she says, no, you should try it. And so he talks trash about Johnny Gargano. They said, oh, sick. So he's like, oh, okay, well, I guess so. He's like, so what's for dinner? And then she's like, oh, I did what Candice LeRae does. It's takeout. And then the door knocks and he's all like, oh, that's convenient. And it's Tegan Knox like, oh, she's got a key. Keith Lee is fucking gold in this. This dude is funny. So they have a pizza, and then they get serious and say this, saying, they want to put their names in their trashy mouths. Well, there's consequences. And Mia Yim ends it with saying, it's not the Gargano way. It's about making you pay. That leads, it was a good segment. It was funny listening to Mia Yim do the impression. It was funny, and Keith Lee is so comedic. I love it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it was probably one of the better segments of the night. Interview with Drake Maverick. Maverick, is asked about the controversies. Look, I know what you're going to say. Look, we can do anything they want. We can have a rematch, whatever they want to do. Kushida walks over. He says something. I didn't catch it. He says, you won. Now go win the title. Drake Maverick says, hey, hold on. It's like, I have respect for you, and I want you to know when I win the championship, I want to give you the first title shot. And Kushida's like, me? He's like, yes. They shake hands, and Drake Maverick says, I'm in the finals? I'm in the finals! So, yeah. A promo by Imperium. They said they've taken over the NXT tag team division, but like Walter, those titles are not leaving their shoulders. They say Lorcan and Birch are a disgrace to their countries and to their sacred place, which is the ring. It's Imperium. It is what it is. We get Shotzi Blackheart versus Rachel Gonzalez. Gonzalez uses her strength, and you see a lot of resiliency from Shotzi in this match. The match is just kind of a back and forth match for the most part. Then you get Dakota Kai, who tries to destroy Shotzi's tank. Tegan Knox ends up coming out. They end up, she destroys Gonzalez. Then you get a big roll-up by Shotzi, only for a 2 count, and then a big boot by Gonzalez. When we come back from commercial, Gonzalez is stomping Shotzi in the corner, picks her up, power slams him for a 2 count, puts Shotzi into a bear hug. Shotzi does, however, fight out of it, fights back, comes running the ropes, ends up getting caught into a pendulum backbreaker for a 2 count. Shotzi, though, does still fight back yet again, building momentum, and then does like the trust fall that Kofi does, but I don't know how she did this. I'm not sure if she hurt herself or not. Ends up kind of rolling through when she comes down and lands hard on her head. Anyways, Candice LeRae, though, does come out, confronts Tegan Knox. That allows Dakota Kai, when Shotzi's going for something in the corner, to grab her foot, keeping her there and her hitting face first against the post. Then Gonzalez picks her up for some slam, like a side suplex into a big old slam for the 3 count, giving Rachel Gonzalez the win. This obviously setting up for something with Candice LeRae and Tegan Knox as well. We get a tag team match, playa. It's Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley taking on Ric Flair and a partner of hers to be, revealed, which turns out to be Chelsea Green. Rhea Ripley, the story of this match is basically Rhea Ripley wanting to get her hands on Charlotte because of WrestleMania and her losing the championship. The majority of this match is honestly just Chelsea Green doing the majority of the work. You don't get a lot of Charlotte Flair until towards the end of this match, but it is a nice little back and forth match for the most part. Chelsea Green with a very nice dive to the suicide dive to the outside to Io Shirai. They fight around the barricade for a little bit, and Io gets the advantage, throwing her into the thing. Charlotte Flair, when she is in there, working over Io, Chelsea Green right back in. Chelsea Green working over Io. Io gets the hot tag to Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley, of course, taking advantage of the situation, hits an electric chair slam only for a 2 count, which is broke up by Charlotte Flair. Io gets tagged back in. She gets in. Her and Charlotte are fighting. They have a really good fighting. They have a nice little exchange. A running knee, double running knee into the corner by Io. There was a part I forgot to write down. There's a part where Charlotte's got Rhea in the figure 4, going for the figure 8, and Io does a double stomp to actually break that up. That was a nice little spot. I forgot to write it down. But yeah, running knees into the corner for Io. Io sets up for a butterfly suplex, but that gets countered into a back body drop. But Io lands on her feet, ends up hitting a double stomp onto Flair. Flair then against the ropes gets hit by a 619 by Io. The match ends though when Io goes for a drop kick off of a springboard drop kick. Charlotte pushing Chelsea Green into the way, sacrificing her partner. Then hits Ripley, who's on the apron, and then ends up rolling up Io Shirai, using the ropes to her advantage for leverage, getting the 3 count, and Charlotte and Chelsea Green win. And I guess Chelsea Green's okay with the fact that she got used as a sacrificial lamb as long as they win. So there you go. Like I said, good little match. I enjoyed it. It's just basically building for the triple threat match for next week's TakeOver. Interview with the Garganos, where they're asked, entertaining a little bit. They said it's not entertaining. It was disrespectful. They're not happy. Gargano says, Keith Lee can, make fun of him, whatever he says, but he won't be laughing when he takes that North American Championship from him at NXT TakeOver in your house. So another match added to TakeOver. Candice LeRae challenges Mia Yim for a match next week and says that Tegan Nox should be ashamed. Ooh. Via Skype, Zoom, Microsoft, whatever, we have William Regal and Adam Cole doing negotiations. Of course, Adam Cole's not been on TV for the majority of this pandemic, staying home. They kind of squabble for the most part. It's just them squabbling. Adam Cole, for the negotiation, says he wants the Undisputed Era to have a fair shot at the tag team titles because last time they were not prepared for the team they faced. Says he does not want the Velveteen Dream in his business at all, ever again. Regal says, see, there you go. All about you. But what do I want? He says, I think Velveteen Dream should get another shot at your title. Basically, Adam Cole says, yeah, but why him? He's, spotlight where he lays on a couch. He's all about me, 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 me. Regal's like, hey, you both are the same way. You both crave the spotlight. He says, so he, says, he does think he should get it. And he's like, look, I'll tell you what, Adam Cole. He's like, I'll tell you what. When I beat the Velveteen Dream at TakeOver in your house, you have to say Velveteen Dream never gets another title shot. William Regal thinks about it and says, okay, I'll tell you what. At NXT TakeOver in your house, it will be Adam Cole versus the Velveteen Dream for the NXT Championship, with the caveat that he will find a place, a location worthy of both of these men, worthy of the spotlight, where the title will be defended properly. And then he says, if the Velveteen Dream loses, he'll never get another shot. Adam Cole agrees. So another match added. I think it will be a great match. It's going to be taking place in a different location. Where's that at? Maybe it'll be more cinematic because of the, Velveteen Dream. He's got that cinematic thing that he does. So I look forward to it, and I think it will be undisputed. Oh, Jesus, I'm knocking over my microphone. That's twice. We get a little package for Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan. They talk about where they're from, and they talk about, calling those guys out because they, talking about calling out Imperium for the titles because they don't want to wait for these guys to have a long title reign. So oh my gosh, my nose is itching. So they're taking it to them. We get a match. Newcomer Leon Ruff taking on Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa makes his entrance, and out comes Scarlett Bordeaux out behind him. Ciampa is just staring her down. Ruff goes for a schoolboy attempt, gets a 2 count, gets a little bit of offense in. Then Ciampa with a big running knee, knocking him out. Ends up hitting the fairy tale ending for a 3 count. Then Ciampa continues to stare down Bordeaux. Karrion Kross comes up on the Tron, tells Ciampa that, he wanted to make sure that he corrected him on a few words that he said last week. Says that, yes, Ciampa is special, but NXT TakeOver, that is special. And that at NXT TakeOver, he will make Ciampa feel something he has never felt before. Nice, quick little promo. Just another match to basically set up for TakeOver. It's nothing. But it is main event time. Main event time. The cage fight with Kurt Angle as your special guest referee. I like the setup that they did for this match. The way the cage looked kind of like the Lion's Den, but not quite the same. It looked like an MMA file thing. Both men start on the top on the scaffolds and then have to get in the ring and then fight. The beginning of this match was very much like a UFC cage fight, but with 4 sides instead. And they, even did the tail of the tape. And like I said, it started like a legit MMA fight, going back and forth and countering with each other. Riddle with a nice German suplex. At the very early into the match, Riddle actually does like a jumping kick off of the side of the cage and nails Thatcher. Now, I went back and I rewatched it, but I'm not sure where it happened, but when Thatcher gets up from that kick, with the 10 count, his mouth is bleeding. And there's teeth on the mat, so I don't know if that was just like a really well-worked work or if he legit got his teeth knocked out by Matt Riddle. But either way, it was a good visual. The referee checks on Thatcher and tells Thatcher that he's good to go. Basically, the rest of this match is more or less these guys just going back and forth, trying to wear each other out, trying to lock in submissions. Not a lot of trying to knock them out because, essentially you win either by submission or knockout. They really are just going for the submissions. You get a kick. You get kicks by Matt Riddle with Thatcher up against the side of the cage. Thatcher finally, gets out of the way, hits him against the cage. You get a leg lock. Sorry, they're on top of the scaffold. Kicks by Riddle. Thatcher with a leg lock. Riddle kind of hanging around. Riddle gets away from it, tries to go for a senton, misses. Thatcher there with a nice suplex on the scaffold to Matt Riddle. A big knee though by Riddle on the scaffold. Thatcher rolls to the mat. Riddle with a rolling bro off the top hits him. Doesn't end up getting the pinfall though. There is no pinfalls. Some more kicks against the side of the cage. This is where I got confused. Kicks on the side of the cage by Matt Riddle. Thatcher, though, does get away. Ends up pushing Riddle's face into the side of the cage. Gets him into a rear naked chokehold. Riddle, though, does fall back. Gets out of it for a second, but then Thatcher immediately locks it back in with Matt Riddle passing out. Therefore, Timothy Thatcher is your winner of the pit fight. Is that what they call it? The cage fight. They call it a pit fight. Good match. Enjoyable. I think it was a good little... it was different. And that's, I think, what WWE needs. is they need different, and this was certainly that. I wouldn't mind seeing one of these again. I do think maybe they could have saved this for in your house, but, building something on TV, God dang it. I keep knocking it over. But it was still good nonetheless. So I give Takeover. I give NXT this week a solid. I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. I think it was pretty good. Now, for your Dynamite portion of this double shot review. Like I said, I did 42 minutes of this last night, but Dynamite last night was a fun show. Really taking the momentum that they built for Double or Nothing and carried it over to last night. It was great. Starts off with the Inner Circle by a truck, and they're talking about getting rid of these shirts and trying to have a pep rally because they thought they were going to win, but now they got to get rid of this stuff. And it turns out they have 100 cases of these damn things. The show, though, does start off properly with Matt Hardy and the Elite doing a promo. Kenny and Adam Hangman Page decide that they're going to leave. So the Bucks do ask Matt Hardy for a different version. You get the extreme version, and you end up getting what I assume is the high voltage version of Matt Hardy. They pose, they go to the match. In fact, that match is now. It's Joey Janela and Private Party versus Matt Hardy and the Young Bucks. Great teamwork by the Hardys and Young Bucks. This being the first time that they've ever actually teamed together, but having plenty of matches against each other. So you would assume they know each other well enough. As far as Matt Hardy goes and him doing these different versions of himself, we saw it at Double or Nothing, and then we see it again tonight. I like that. I like the different versions of Matt that we're getting, the way that he's expanded and altered the broken universe to where Matt can actually now, his vessel can alternate between personas. It's good. It's Matt Hardy. WWE, you're stupid that you let him go. Janela slows the pace down after a fast pace, getting everything started. Nick Jackson is getting worked over, but he does fight back. Fights Janela to the outside. Goes for a super kick on Janela, but ends up hitting the Blade, who's sitting out there with the Butcher. Butcher grabs him in. Matt comes out, and they all four have a fight. Nick, though, does get back up to the apron. Ends up getting Janela down on the ramp, I think with a DDT. Then hits a monkey flip to Mark Quinn on the apron. And then Nick hits the Canadian Destroyer on Isaiah Cassidy from the outside to the inside of the ring. That was a brilliant move. Hot tag to Matt Hardy, who does clean house, hits side effect on Matt Quinn, then eventually lands a moonsault on all three of his competitor. Janela, though, ends up hitting the ribs of Matt Jackson, working him over. Everyone ends up fighting to the outside. Private Party doing a plancha over the top rope to the Bucks on the outside. Mark Quinn, Isaiah. Yeah, it is Mark Quinn. I'm stupid. Mark Quinn actually hurting his knee. Don't know what the severity is. I haven't seen anything on Twitter today about it, but he hurts his knee. So they kind of go to the go-home spot of this pretty quick with the Bucks and Matt Hardy and them hitting a series of moves with a moonsault to finish it off. Young Bucks and Matt Hardy win the match. Hardy does help Quindo to the back along with Isaiah Cassidy. It's been a long day. Then out comes Butcher and Blade, who do attack the Young Bucks. But then we see a truck. As weird as this is going to be, we see a truck carrying both Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler. For those who aren't familiar with who that is, The Revival, hashtag FTR, have arrived in All Elite Wrestling. They go into the ring, actually fight Butcher the Blade, end up hitting a spike pile driver onto the Blade, and then hitting a shatter machine. No, they hit a shatter machine on the Butcher, hit a spike pile driver on the Blade, then a super kick onto the Butcher by the Young Bucks, and then FTR just kind of walk away. It's great to see these guys come in. As far as the match itself goes, it was a good little 6-man tag. It was fine. But the bigger story here, obviously, is FTR being in All Elite Wrestling now. I think it's great. I think that's the best thing that could have happened. I'm excited to see where these guys are going to go with this. Not sending them as being like right out of the gate, heels, I think is probably the best thing they could have obviously done for this. So it allows it time to breathe and build, and we can get these guys probably at All Out or maybe Fyter Fest. Or who knows, maybe they team up at Fyter Fest in a tag match or something. But I say probably by All Out, we're going to get all these teams facing each other, and that's probably how this is going to go. Moving on, though, Brian Cage, who with Taz takes on enhancement talent, Lee Johnson. Moxley is, however, on commentary during this. When he does get out to the desk, he says how his match with Brody Lee was the toughest challenge yet to date for him in AEW, that he's actually had to sit at home for a couple days, bruised up and beat up. But then says now comes along this Brian Cage guy, who's now straight into the title picture after winning that Battle Royal. They actually show the spot with Cage throwing Darby Allin out of the ring against Thing, and Moxley's even like, damn, Darby, like, not smart. No sign of Darby Allin tonight, as a matter of fact, so maybe he's legit hurt, or they just got him selling the injuries. I'm not sure. But this match, very short match. Brian Cage gets into the ring, immediately just goes to town on this guy. Big uppercuts, a big old released German suplex, power bombs Lee Johnson, holds it in, picks him up into a running buckle bomb, and then hits the drill claw for the 3 count. Brian Cage is your winner of this match, making very short work of Mr. Johnson. Taz afterwards says that he respects Jon Moxley and how he grinds and how he works hard. Says he wants Moxley to bring that heart and bring that grit to the fight at Fyter Fest. So we do know we're getting a Fyter Fest. We just don't know when. Says that at Fyter Fest, he can try to beat Brian Cage. But here, let me word it. Beat him if you can. Survive if he lets you. Of course, that's Taz's old little catchphrase. Taz is fantastic on the mic. I'm looking forward to this match. I just think this is just going to be something to hold him over, but bringing Brian Cage in, building him up just to lose to Moxley, I guess so. You can do that. That's fine. We get probably one of the better segments of this show with Tony Schiavone having to stand out there for whatever reason for the rules of being a role model with Britt Baker. Now, JR told Tony, go ahead. This is rules of being a role model. And JR audibly laughs and just, I cracked up. It's funny. But we learn from Miss Britt Baker, who is not able to compete because she does have a broken, I think it's patella. Yeah, I think her patella's broke from Nia. My God, someone will slap me. Yeah. I just think I had a brain fart. But from her accident last week with Nyla Rose, I was going to call her Nia Jax, but Nyla Rose being slammed on her last week. She talks about, rule number 3, don't hurt the role model. Her getting hurt was a conspiracy. She says it was not an accident. Says that she's very close friends with top executives at TNT, and that without her, there is no women's division. She calls all 3 women conspirators, saying Statlander being alien is bullshit, and with Shida becoming the new women's champion, it was all a ploy, and that Nyla Rose, she's gone off the top rope thousands of times, and why couldn't she avoided her leg? And then she says that she has this web of evil, and at the center is referee Aubrey Edwards. Yeah, that she's the leader of all of this. That, broke my leg. Aubrey was there. Broke my nose. Aubrey was there. She said something about broke her finger or something. Says, well, she was somewhere. Like, what? I'm totally into this whole Britt Baker thing, but she says she'll be back everyone's on notice that she'll be back at All Out in September. Keep this shit up. I think she should do videos of her building this fucking board and going all out with it. No pun intended. From now until she finally gets back, I think it will be great. But I think this is going to build to her having a match with probably Hikaru Shida, most likely, if I were to guess. We get an interview with the Inner Circle where Jericho says that, yes, they lost at the Stampede, but tonight they're there to get back on track. They're going to have this pep rally. It's going to be a party. And then you see Orange Cassidy kind of walk into frame, but then he walks back out of frame. And Jericho's just looking like, did that just happen? Says, oh, we'll see you later. Speaking of the champion, Hikaru. I'm going to try this again. Hikaru Shida. It's hilarious. I love her saying that. But she's taking on Christy Jaynes, who is making her, I think, her Dynamite debut. I've never seen her on Dynamite, but I will say I was impressed. I was thoroughly impressed with this young lady. Her showing off at the beginning, trying to one-up Shida, hits a very nice, springboard arm drag off of the top rope. Very good move. Shida, though, does grab her by the hair, drags her into the corner, and hits her with a big running knee. Ooh, someone's got food. Hits the running, and then hits a running knee on the apron. You get some holy Shida chants. Shida wears her down, works her back a little bit, hits a vertical suplex for only a 2 count. Jaynes, though, like I said, impressive in this match. Counters a move into a sunset flip, only for a 2 count. Hits a very nice kick on her way up. However, Shida's the champion. Shida doing what she needs to do. Hits a running elbow, then followed by a knee. Hits the Falcon Arrow for the 3 count. Shida wins. They're just basically building Shida up to be against her next challenger. So, nice match. Nothing too impressive, but it's definitely showing that the women's division does have some potential. And I think this is one of the better women's matches on Dynamite itself. I actually thought it was pretty good. So we did have Kenny Omega, though, say something about responding to criticism about the women's division. So, if you go back to last night, go back, that they actually have one of the better divisions and that it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I mean, those aren't his words. I'm just kind of, more or less. But I can understand where Kenny's coming from. The women's division is literally his baby. But let's be realistic, right? I mean, this division's not been good. But I do see improvements. They do have the talent there to make a good women's division. And I think last night and tonight were very nice places for them to start. So they go to commercial, but they do a picture-in-picture where you see Adam Page and Kenny Omega, and you get to see what they were doing after they left. You see a gallon of milk with a glass of milk next to Kenny Omega, and then Page with beer. Page goes to get some more beer, and he notices the camera, and he gets all close to it, and he's looking at it, and he's looking back at Kenny, and he's pointing back to it. I think it was a funny segment. I think it would have been much better if I could actually hear what they were saying. But otherwise, it was great. These two got great chemistry. I'm not sure where they're going with these two, whether or not this is going to actually lead to the breakup, or if they've decided to prolong that until, things get back to normal. Whatever they're doing, it was a small, entertaining segment. Cody Rhodes does come out, though. He's interviewed by Tony Schiavone. He does ask Schiavone at the beginning, why do I like Tom Brady? He talks about Tom Brady being a winner. He mentions how, it's not because he's a Boston boy, that he's probably actually never allowed back in Connecticut. Another shot at WWE. He talks about Tony Khan, and then mentioning, not being the first called or the second called or the third, but the fourth. It says, but that's fine. He talks about his mom and growing up and how she got him to understand at an early age that it's not about who's the most talented, but who has the most heart, who has the most grit talks about being called up when he was young and growing up in front of us, and how he can outrun anyone if you want to race him, how he'll out-wrestle everybody. I mean, it was a very impassioned promo, which Cody's on the stick has been the absolute best in AEW. The crowds are behind him. I'm behind him. I wasn't a fan of Cody winning or on Saturday night, but I get it. And like I said, I'm not against it, but I think Cody's going to end up being a really great champion for this division. I really do think that he will. But Cody says that, he, after winning in the turnout for Double or Nothing, that he feels that it's his job now to defend that title for the best network on television, and that it is an open challenge every week, so anyone who wants to come can do it. Now, while all this is going on, and you're having this great little thing, they keep cutting back to Brandy, who's standing next to Dustin. And you got QT Marshall, and I want to say, I can't think of who that was next to him. I didn't recognize her at first, looked a little different. But he's talking to her, and Brandy kept elbowing him to pay attention and to clap. And I'm like, what are they actually trying to build here? I'm not sure, but great promo by Cody Rhodes, and I do look forward to seeing him defend that championship, although I still think that belt is ugly. This next match is actually a match for the winners to face the tag team champions next week on Dynamite. It's SCU versus Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc with Penelope Ford. My girl wants everyone to know that she thinks Penelope's clothes are on point. Also that she thought Candice LeRae's shoes were fantabulous, and that she thought Candice LeRae was Penelope Ford. But we'll forgive her for that. SCU, though, does control most of this match, working over Kip Sabian, then working over Jimmy Havoc. Kip Sabian, though, with a cheap kick against the ropes during a spot. They work over Kaz. A nice catapult with an eye poke by Havoc and Sabian. Scorpio Sky, though, does get back into the match, ends up hitting gets a Death Valley driver hit on him by Havoc. A double stomp then by Sabian. Good teamwork by these guys. Kaz, though, does get tagged in. Him and Scorpio Sky hit assisted swinging DDT for only a 2 count. SCU go for the SCU later, but Penelope Ford grabs Kazarian's foot, allowing for Scorpio Sky to get knocked out of the ring, and then a Michinoku driver by Jimmy Havoc for the 3 count. Good match, very good match, but I'm curious as to why a team who is I understand that they've been working together for a few weeks now, but they're literally have never teamed up, but are now in this spot to have a tag team title match. I'm not saying it's not a good play, I would say a placeholder, but not a bad thing, but it's not necessarily something that it's like, okay, why are they in this position when there's other teams that you could work? Yes, you're in the middle of a pandemic and you're working with you have. That's fair. But I still think there are other teams that are still around. You could have used, the Jurassic Express maybe, but they were in the Battle Royal. So I don't know. It's nitpicking, and it's not really that big of a deal. But like I said, it was a good match. So next week, we are going to get them against the champs of Page and Omega next week. MJF promo. All I'm going to say about this is fucking great. But we all know MJF is 90% of the time great at doing his promos. Big takeaway from this is, he talks about how he's been undefeated for, a year, and how he's yet to receive a title shot. It's almost like someone in management in the office doesn't like him. But then he talks about, so he decided when this Battle Royal for that executive was being put together for a shot at his title, he decided to put his name in the hat. He says, but it's fine that he's got the big guy, Wardlow, in there, and that when it comes down to those two, Wardlow will know what to do. Wardlow says, but, and he's like, there is no buts! And he gets all in his face. And he's like, I got you, big guy. And he walks off, and you can clearly see Wardlow does not look like he's very pleased. So you see AEW sprinkling the seeds, right? Sprinkling seeds for their eventual separation. We get a battle royal for the number one contendership of the AEW TNT Sonic Drive-Thru Great Value Double or Nothing Championship. I don't know. I thought it'd be funny. Clearly, I'm not. MJF, you see in the lower third, says that he's actually the number one contender. Maybe he should go for the AEW title. Who knows? But you get Billy Gunn, Orange Cassidy, Marco Stunt, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Wardlow, Sonny Kiss, Colt Cabana, Luther, Christopher Daniels, The Librarian, Peter Avalon, and Brandon Cutler all in this match. Before the match even starts, Ortiz and Santana attack Orange Cassidy, taking him out of the match. He'll be back later. I didn't take a lot of notes during this, but I did take the eliminations. So Luther choke slammed out of the ring by Luchasaurus for him to be the first eliminated. Wardlow then eliminates Sonny Kiss. Sonny Kiss with a nice little showing in this match. You get a flying apple by Colt Cabana, who's caught by Billy Gunn and then dumped out for his troubles. And then he's eliminated. You get a Dark Order representative with a flyer for Colt Cabana. They hand it to him. Colt actually keeps it and kind of walks off. So there they are, setting up something for Colt Cabana. During the commercial break, Avalon and Brandon Cutler, I guess they eliminate each other. They get eliminated. We get Marco Stunt with the Hurricanrana, eliminating Christopher Daniels. And then he tries to jump on the back of Wardlow, and then Wardlow eliminates him. Wardlow stops Luchasaurus from going for MJF, so they kind of have a fight. And then you see the heights of these guys. Billy Gunn is taller than Luchasaurus. Like, holy shit, dude. But him and Luchasaurus go eye to eye. They take a couple shots. MJF and Wardlow break that up. They end up eliminating Billy and Luchasaurus. So it comes down to MJF, Wardlow. You think it's just Jungle Boy, but Orange Cassidy is actually still in the match, and he rolls back into the ring. Jungle Boy with a back body drop over the top rope eliminates MJF. They notice Luchasaurus is distracting Wardlow while they're talking. So they eliminate Wardlow, who's not paying any attention. So it comes down to Orange Cassidy and Jungle Boy, the winner, to face Cody Rhodes. These guys have a nice little back and forth, a couple skin the cat moments. Funniest shit I've ever seen is Orange Cassidy, who's the most laid back guy, hitting not one, but two Superman punches. I laughed harder last night talking about this, but it was funny. But ultimately, Jungle Boy wins after he does a Hurricanrana over the top rope to Orange Cassidy for the win. Jungle Boy facing Cody Rhodes next week for the championship. They'll find out next week, we're also getting the tag team title match. So next week, AEW having a big show to counter Takeover in Your House, which is, of course, a week from this Sunday. So that will be a really good show next week. Who knows what else they're going to do. It's time, though, for the Inner Circle pep rally with Vicky Guerrero. In the lower third, it actually says to prepare your ears. She introduces them, with her, excuse me, I can't do it. That hurts my throat. But she introduces all of them. Basically, this whole pep rally is about them just trying to make themselves feel better, throwing the shirts out, and giving each other gifts. Sammy Guevara giving them all trophies, and Jericho bringing out, hey, this says, world's best, dad's jokes or whatever. My nose is just itching. I apologize, you guys. He's like, hey, it's a pandemic, and, they're giving each other gifts, and then Jericho gives him like a hit him up mobile because he's on crutches. Like, hey, these are better than crutches. Here you go. Ortiz and Santana giving like hand-me-down gifts and cheap gifts. The boots given to Hager. He's just giving a weird look. Hager writes a poem where he's talking about how he's going to find the Elite and Matt Hardy in their homes. And Jericho's about, oh, that's good. That's okay, big man. We're good. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm happy. Like, okay, that's how you're happy. Hate to see you mad. Uh, so then Sammy asks Jericho, what is it? What is it you really want, Chris? What is what you really want? I know you got this, but what do you really want? Jericho says that he wants Mike Tyson's head on a silver platter. Sammy says, well, I can't give you that, but I got cheese in the bubbly. Jericho asks him what's wrong with that. Out comes Mike Tyson and his crew, I guess. This was an odd ending to the segment. Like, the segment up to this point, I think, was really good, but then this happened, and I'm not quite sure. Like, these guys were all over the place, and Jericho's trying to demand an apology from Tyson, and Tyson's just trying to rip his shirt off and flexing, and I don't know if they were just short on time, so they didn't get to take the segment and do as much with it as they wanted to, but it was just, I was enjoying the segment up till this point, and then just the ending was just weird. It was just a weird ending to this segment, but ultimately this ended with a big old fight and Jericho punching Tyson in the mouth, and I suppose this is setting up for Jericho and Tyson to have a match probably at Fyter Fest to bring in more eyes to that show, or maybe they prolong it to All Out. I'm not really sure, but it was entertaining for what it was, but I'm not sure if Tyson's is a big enough, draw to really sell a pay-per-view. I mean, he's a big draw and he's back in the media's eye and everything, but I don't know. You guys obviously just tell me your thoughts in the comments. It was a good segment overall. This was a good show. If I were to give Dynamite, I would say 8.5 for its rating tonight. Like, I think it was that good of a show. I do think it was better than NXT this week. Outside of that main event for NXT, it was just a show to just build the pay-per-view, and not a lot happened. I feel like there was more for Dynamite than there was NXT this week. But again, both shows were good. I'm never disappointed on a Wednesday night. So it was good. But that was my review, guys. That was my review. You guys let me know in your comments what show you think might have been better. Let me know what you liked or didn't like about the show. I'm curious to hear, but I'm Zach. That's it for me. I will see you guys tomorrow night for SmackDown. Later.